Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our emergency session of GNN. Today is April 23rd, 2024, and we have a preview of the new Banner Knight suit that's going to be dropping this Wednesday. We know it's going to be more likely our 4-star unit, but I haven't seen this before because this dropped in the wee early mornings of Pacific Standard Time, Daylight Time, basically 3 o'clock in the morning. I was dead tired, asleep, and also fighting allergies. So what we're going to do is, as usual, we'll take a look at this trailer that's more than likely super pretty cool, because I know a lot of you guys have already seen this already and kind of poked at me about it. I know the title's already on there already for all intents and purposes, but this is my first time going over this with you guys and essentially practically seeing it for the first time. So we'll probably be able to react to it in real time and then rewind it, go back and kind of go over what we've seen, what we think. And in addition to that, we did have a brand new developer newsletter that came out this early morning as well. So we'll go over that as on top of that. So without further ado, let's go. All right, ever since they changed it to this, I keep on saying this. This is a pretty good, cool, hyped way to kind of introduce new suits, just because it kind of has that level of excitement that you don't get with previous trailers and everything. So this is really cool that they keep up with this. Okay. All right. Oh, the legs. Oh, no. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for this. Well, finally here. And of course, they would use the theme from Extreme Versus as well. I've heard it like maybe once or twice, but it looks so cool already. Like, it's one thing to see the illustrations on the suit that's been like on the minds of other people in the player base, but it's interesting to see. So that was burst fire, neutral swing, downswing, pretty standard. I do like the fact that they're using that sort of comic book overlay. It's kind of neat. Vulcan standard. Oh, so it has 2 melees now, essentially. Okay. Burst fire, shield gun, and then a charge, I think, maybe? Huh. So combat optimizer, so it has that switching mode that the Shekinah used to have, but this is for melees now, so man. Okay, so Grimoire White gives you increased attack power for a short amount of time and reduces damage taken. First time you... Okay. Alright, so the Overon. 4-star 600 cost general. Alright, so let's rewind it back a little bit. Let's go over some stuff. So one of the things that I noticed is the suit design is pretty much on point. Like, it's one thing to see the illustrations of the Overon, but like the way that GBO2 interacts with that type of stuff, it is super crazy how accurate this thing is, how it looks. Now, I'm curious. So it does have a beam rifle, which is normal, but it also charges. It charges in both cases. So it's a charge burst and a burst fire. That's a little... Hold on, let's rewind that back a little bit. So that's a burst fire. Hold on. Yeah, charge fire, charge to stun, charge to double burst. So potentially based on that, I'm going to pause it there. Based on that, it may suggest that it might have a double charge stun, or double charge mode, rather, to be more accurate, which is probably the first of its cost. And it's only recently, the last suit that we got that recently, 4-star wise, was the new heavy weapon system. But it was introduced with the Nightingale. So that's going to be kind of curious to see what they do. It might be a single stun shot type of weapon. Hard to tell. Like, you charging it and it also stuns. Might be piercing. Don't know. They don't really provide that enough information to answer that. But at the same time, it does kind of give us some type of idea of what they're trying to do, potentially what it could do. But yeah, that's nuts. Hopefully it's good in that regard. All right, let's jump ahead and okay, so saber wise, yeah, pretty normal, neutral. It is swinging upward. Sorry, yeah, it's swinging upward. in this format, so might be cool to follow up with some people if they're prone, but I don't know. Vulcan's pretty standard. The heat scissors are, I think they're from the Bull and Oak, if I'm not mistaken, because I know it has something similar already, so I'm pretty sure people that have played Bull of Oats, or the Bull and Oak as it should be called, should be very familiar with that moveset. It does have that charge, well, that shield stun, which it is a burst fire, but I don't know if it's a... It doesn't look like it's charged, so it just dumb fires it normally. But then it looks like you charge for the discharge. So, interesting. Separate weapons. Okay, so as I mentioned when I saw this, combat optimizer, reducing the switching time when selecting another melee weapon from another melee weapon. So this is definitely going to be a melee mobile suit for sure. Basically, just like how the D2 had the Shekinah optimizer, this one's the melee version for the Overon. So that's going to be pretty interesting if it's able to get in there. Safe to assume that this is going to have at least MA1, but beyond that, it's hard to, with 100% certainty, give the exact type of skills that this thing is going to have. But yeah, just the fact that it can follow up so quickly. Now we have a more specific gimmicky skill called Grimoire White. This is basically when it's activated, the attack power for the suit is increased for 5 seconds and damage intake from melee damage is reduced. Also, the reaction caused by toppling and melee weapons other than tackles is reduced. So it's kind of like a form of shock dampeners in a way, I guess, would be the description that I get out of reading that. On top of that, it does have a subsequent definition afterwards, which states that the skill activates for the first time your units reduce lower to a certain amount when while activated. Operation is limited for enemies within a determined range that use melee weapons and high-speed movement, so they'll only be able to walk around, and it seems to imply that they might not be able to use their melee weapons. It might be locked out, kind of like how NTD locks out funnels. Be kind of weird in a way, but at the same time, it's like, well, depending on the suit that you're using, you do have other options. You do have the option to walk away, but there probably is a slight chance that the description might be mistranslated. Who knows? We'll take that with a grain of salt, but I know they're trying to mimic the suit feature by lore, where it mimics the new type phenomena that Sirocco, the guy that designed the O and all his custom-made tailor suits, which include the form of the Overon. Basically, he was caught in that instance of new type shenanigans where he wasn't able to move his suit at all. So I know they're going to be kind of going along the line of that type of description, but we'll just have to see when the suit drops and how that plays out, honestly. But I don't know if it's something that you activate yourself touchpad wise, or if it's something that's like biosensor where it automatically kicks in after a certain amount of HP that has been reduced, as it says. It does say it does activate it, so it could be more like biosensor, but who knows? That might be the case, honestly. And then the beam rifle part is kind of weird. This really caught my eye though. The 4 saber, basically the Toad Switcher style counter. This thing is pretty cool. So it's gonna have its own unique counter. That is gonna be really nice. But like I said, the way that it looks is super cool. It's not one of my... I wouldn't say it's my... I'm a fan of it, but at the same time, you can't deny that it's a clean piece of artwork there. And then the wallpaper potential of this suit is going to be off the wall. And the fact that it's coming in as a 600 4-star. The last 600 4-star that I remember was the Bylorant Custom. And that thing is going to was dirty. This might be dirty as well. Although I jokingly said it was going to suck. I don't know so much anymore, but all I know is I do want to try this out when it drops. So, all right, folks, on to the developer newsletter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We have Ishii from the dev team talking about thanking us for our service. I know it's a mistranslation, but I'm pretty sure they're referring to our time with the game, sticking with it, and basically mentioning it's his turn to write about this month's newsletter and all the updates that are ongoing. First off, leading with the Major General rank update, and basically saying that he's seen some of us already promoted to that, so thanking us for playing, every day, and basically expressing the dev team's thankfulness and joy for our continued dedication with this game. So one of the things I'm going to skip down to is the balancing of custom parts. Basically, on their observation, some of the custom parts that they've released are extremely unpopular in GBO2. Again, to bear in mind, the translation might be a little off, but they analyze the reasons hidden in the background, and it's most likely related to the low cost performance per number of custom part slots that it's required, and hard to be benefited from the custom part. That is what they are saying. So they've made some adjustments to address that situation. For example, Overtune Melee used to use 7 close range, 4 mid range, and 1 long range custom slot. It's now been reduced down to 5 close, 3 mid range, and 1 long. So as an example, so there are certain ones on this list that you see with the overtuning, melee, range, mobility, overtuning frame, overtuning ballistic armor, overtuning thrusters, which I can see you getting used, the new ballistic anti-ballistic armor, and composite armor type A. Some of these will get used or tried to get used, but it's hard to factor in as far as like how much of a benefit that it does affect in terms of, say, whatever one uses in their building, because it's like there are certain values that are not in that list, as far as like custom part slots. Like every suit has a sort of downswing modifier or hit modifier in addition to whatever stats that you get through affecting your defenses and offensive side of tuning. So we'll see. Some of them may not even still get used at all, but at least they're trying something. They're able to adjust the usage of how much space they take up. So I don't know. People might get creative in trying to fit things out and doing some crazy things. So we shall see how that plays out. On top of that, we do have the limited campaign for Golden Week, excuse me. As usual, they will be having powered up hangars campaigns this year. So basically, if you're not familiar with the powered up campaign for hangars, sorry, I know I'm kind of throwing that out of order there. Basically, there's a chance for triple the success rate while you're tuning a suit, as well as the triple times enhanced values. So if you're tuning it for 100, you might get essentially 3 times that. So really cool if you're trying to full tune some suits and you're trying to get the most out of your mechanic tickets. Definitely really cool. So as mentioned earlier, and us going over the trailer, we have a nice clean shot of the Overon. This is an AGX series, which is basically a Anaheim platform. So to kind of go over some insight behind this suit, this is basically part of that Valkypurgis plan. Basically, once covered by the armor resembling the O, so chances are we'll get that full armor version of the Overon probably at a later time. I would almost say it's probably going to be a 650 as well, because it does resemble the O. Basically, it is a Sirocco handmade mobile suit design, basically using a simple body type concept, focusing on basic functionality, making it a Gundam type variant of the O. Armor is very simple: rifle, beam saber, and head Vulcans. It's also equipped with a multifunctional shield that can deploy a scattering mega cannon and heat scissors, as we saw with the trailer. It is able to demonstrate the suppression mobile suit control known as the Curse of Grips, which took the life of Sirocco to the target mobile suit. So it's very much similar to the phenomenon that the Zeta Gundam emitted in the events at the end of Zeta Gundam, or the trilogy, whichever one you prefer. But it's basically referring to that with the Grimoire White skill, which will hopefully get more insight once the suit drops. And of course, it is a suit that you can use both in ground and space. I would highly doubt that this would be a space only, because that would suck. But the update will be applied on the 24th at 2200 hours. So if you're not familiar with that, that is 10 o'clock Pacific time, daylight savings time. And They also mentioned, if you didn't notice from the trailer already, that it used the Overon theme from Gundam Extreme Versus 2, which is inspired by Celtic music, so it's pretty cool. I don't think I've ever heard it, but I thought it was pretty neat considering some of the other themes that we already have in game. That it's a little more different outside of that. But yeah, basically they conclude that's pretty much it, and thank us for reading into the newsletter, and see you on the battlefield. So that'll conclude tonight's, or rather today's, GNN emergency session, going over the new suit that will be dropping this Wednesday this week for console fans there. So more importantly, will you be pulling this? Because I know chances are I might have to dig deep for this one here. I know I said I would probably not try to get any more suits, but considering the uniqueness of this one here, it's going to be hard not to get this, especially at that cost range. So I want to know what you guys think of the new Overon that's going to be dropping for us. It's going to be interesting to see that this may be the next perfect Gundam at 600. I say that with a little bit of jokingly sarcasm, because God knows, oh man, there's already a lot of stuff at 550 and 600 out as well. So I'm kind of curious how that's going to shake up the cost range there. So with that said, that'll conclude our news. Have a great night, great morning, wherever you are, and I will see you guys all on the next video. Take care.